Egyptian model jailed for posing in front of pyramids. In Egypt, Egyptian model Salma al-Shimi has been arrested alongside her photographer after posing in front of pyramids in a tight-fitting, quote, pharaonic dress. The arrests are part of an ongoing crackdown on social media influencers under the guise of maintaining, quote unquote, public morals. In recent months, female influencers have increasingly come into conflict with a regime that is determined to show that its harsh treatment of Islamist political groups, such as the Muslim Brotherhood, does not mean that it will tolerate liberal attitudes. So this is just one in a number of female influencers, primarily female influencers, from what I've seen, who have been arrested because of stuff they do for Graham. Or there's been a number of high-profile TikTok girls, young girls, who have been arrested for, insulting public morals, basically, for the way they dress on TikTok.
Well, I just got to say, she's al-Shimi, all right. Girl is thick. She looks good.
Okay, Rivka. I'm saying, damn. I'm trying to flood her like Pharaoh.
I really hope that she got like a major boost in her Instagram following and all her other accounts because of this nonsense, right?
Some of the talk is, though, that I've seen on some of like the Africa news and some of the Moroccan, because they're talking about Egypt and Morocco, is that she didn't actually get arrested. That's funny, Murtad. She didn't really get arrested for her clothes. It's because she tried to sneak in without paying, or there's all these like, people are saying like, oh, it wasn't that, it's that they didn't pay, or that they, I've seen some comments like that. So just, it's all these ways to just sort of deflect from what's really going on. And then lots of comments from people saying stuff like, really, the country of belly dancing is uptight about her clothes, and they're Africans. Egypt is in Africa. They were colonized by Islam.
Yeah, so they're Nubians.
So this idea that somehow she's not representing, their culture is BS.
Okay.
Yep. See, there you go.
Yeah, that's what
This is we're looking at a screenshot of a tweet that has a big X over this girl's pose, and saying, your photos are really disgusting and do not represent the history of our civilization at all. Asian American just sent us a super chat of $2. Thank you for the $2, saying pharaohs used to ritually jack into the Nile.
But that's
true.
I don't know, but I want to address this thing. So she's saying that this doesn't represent the history of their civilization. Yes, thank you. While she's wearing the cover and all these things, and that's not the original history of Egypt. Egypt existed way before. They're not. Oh, that makes me so. It's just this denial of anything that came before Islam.
No pun intended.
But on.
All right, go ahead.
Wow, you're not typically one to hop on those dad jokes, Armin. You just had an Ali moment.
No, but I got the same reaction Rivka got when I first saw this tweet. Like, this does not represent the history of our civilization. Girl, like, look at her. She has a hijab on. Girl, like, Islam doesn't represent the history of your civilization, you moron. Like, no, like, are you serious? Like, weren't Egyptian women like topless? Wasn't it a thing? I think that was a thing. First of all, they were bald. I know that. And they were bald and they had like this whole wigs on. But they were also topless. Like, I don't know. It just frustrates me. Like, know your like, no, imagine like this lady is lecturing the world about her history, and she doesn't even. We know your history more than we know the history of your country more than you. Like, how do you think? Like, look at the picture that she's crossing, and her with the hijab. Which one of these people do you think represent the history of Egypt more accurately? This girl in like the traditional Egyptian outfit,
well, it's not
or the
traditional.
hijab?
It's like a slutty pharaoh outfit. Like it's
They
not
were slutty back then. It's not
it's
traditional.
stylized. It's stylized.
I
For
know,
making
but
a
it's
joke
still
about Halloween costumes.
I know,
it's
but there
slutty
was
pharaoh.
still yes. Even though it's like modernized and stylized or whatever that word means, you're saying, right? It's still, even after that, it's closer to the history of their civilization than this hijabi thing that she's wearing. Okay, even after all of that.
Katie's
right?
asking this good question. Saying, are there Egyptian revivalist nationalists who are extremely anti-Islam? This is a good
yes, it's a big thing. I didn't even know until I looked into it later. It was like, wow, you guys are a lot like Iranians that were like want to go to pre-Islamic Iran. Like, we had shahs and shahs, and this Islamic stuff is barbaric and beneath our culture. And they all of a sudden become racist as well. And they're like, this is the religion. Islam is the religion is for the barbarian, desert dwelling, alligator eating Arabs. We be Aryans, and the only religion for Aryans is Zoroastrianism. So they go with racist all of a sudden with that. So that's not cool. But I noticed that in Egypt and in Lebanon, people are saying like, you know what, we don't want Islam because we're not even really Arab. Like, guys, why are you making ethnicity all of a sudden? You have to oppose Islam because it's just nonsense. Don't be like, this is not our religion because we're not true Arabs. But it's very similar in Egypt because they like, we be like in Iran, they're like, we be Shah and Shahs, not like mullahs. And in Egypt, there seems to be a movement like, we be pharaohs, we're not like ulama. And this whole thing is like, kick this barbaric religion out of our country. We need, like they have like I've seen like cartoons of like pharaohs chasing down mullahs with arrows.
Oh my word!
On their chariots. So I was like, "Woo, this is like a thing both in Iran and in Egypt." But go on, Rivka wanted to say something.
I was going to say throughout North Africa, I hear those kind of comments like, that's not our original religion. We weren't really Arabs. We were colonized by Islam. This isn't our culture. In some places, not even our original language, et cetera, et cetera. So there's like, some people are just talking about it to, discuss it, but oh God.
Rivka, when I highlight the comment, finish your thought. We'll come back to the comment later.
But anyways, so I've heard that, amongst a lot of people in North Africa, Moroccans, my Moroccan family, Moroccans, some Tunisians. I don't know about Algerians so much because I don't know that many Algerians. I know some, but so it makes sense again that Egypt too, that a lot of this discussion is we're part of Africa. Our culture is African. It's not Islam. It's not Arab. So there definitely is that going on for sure. That's all I wanted to say.
Murtad always coming with just fantastic jokes, saying goddess ISIS is greater than the group ISIS.
And for people who don't know, the reason why we're saying ISIS instead of actually just pronouncing it is because YouTube gets butthurt over us mentioning that group. Katie is asking a good question, saying these people see the world in a binary of Islam versus revivalism. Why do they not see modernization as an option? Well, because they're morons, Katie. In the Egyptian case, it actually has some substance to it, given that women's rights in ancient Egypt was astonishingly ahead of its time. Yeah, but we don't need to go back to progress. We could go forward to progress. So we don't need to look at history and revive anything. Modernity and Enlightenment values and liberalism gives you actual much better. Even if they were better, I mean, come on, compared to Islam, who wasn't better compared to Islam? Islam was obviously a step backward, right? So we shouldn't be like, oh, it was better before Islam, so let's go back to that. No, we could like go forward. We could get rid of Islam by going forward. We don't have to get rid of Islam by going backwards. All right. Oh, you want to read the Susanna? You want to read the tweet that I highlighted, like on the screen?
From Mona El-Tawi, saying, in its latest war on women's bodies, Egypt's public prosecution is investigating aspiring model Salma Al-Shimi for a photo session at the Saqqara. Oh my goodness, Saqqara.
Just one of the pyramids.
Yeah, pyramid plateau that she posted on social media.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if there's any other tweets before we go to the comments. Any other tweets? So that Mona is good. Mona, I like Mona. Oh, then they have pictures of other people. But let me actually show you the comments from our own community to see if there's anything interesting there. One second. Give me a second, all right? Just give me a second. Oh, there we go. All right, there's some juicy comments, I think, here. All right. Susanna, do you want to read the first one?
Can you zoom in, please? Oh, you just did. Okay. Tutankhamun was a famous pharaoh. He would be face palming if he could see the direction Egypt has taken, says Nathan. How does anyone want to live in a world where women can't be beautiful, says Matt. Scroll down a little bit. I want to see what Shiloh is saying. Shiloh is saying, it shines light on exactly how backward they are. I'm glad at least they have some models that aren't stick figures. You like some juicy. Okay.
Look at Gaz's lovely set of pyramids, though.
I'm so mad.
All right, that was good. This one is good too.
Ancient Egypt was more morally advanced than modern Egypt on some points, so it seems. Yeah, I could be completely wrong, but they didn't seem to think of women's skin as just this toxic thing.
Yeah, but they did so many.
Yeah, but they
things.
practice incest and stuff like that. So I mean, we don't have to. I mean, whatever.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They did genocide. Like, come on, like guys, we don't have to go just because there were some good in some things. That doesn't mean we need to go backwards. Okay, here, last one we read before we go to the next one.
Why Egyptians in the past dressed like that all the time? 5,000 years back, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Hold on, let me bring it back to us.
I didn't know that they practice incest.
The royalty did, because they were supposed to keep the blood pure.
Brother and sister, or between cousins?
Brother and sister, because they need to, because the pharaohs had divine blood, and they needed to keep that pure.
Oh my word!
King Tut.
Well, that's a good way to destroy your dynasty real fast.
Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia.
And subscribe! Everyone! Every single one of you is watching! Subscribe! Do it now! Do it now!